Right, Neil Pye has very patiently been waiting to ask his question.
Thank you, Michael. My question goes back to the issue of accountability and some of the finer aspects of the democratic aspects of the Metro Mayor. And my question is, like US presidents, should Metro Mayors serve a maximum 2-term limit, including continuous, in their roles? And
I may as well leave now, because I'm in my third term.
And also, should deputy mayors be directly elected too? And one of my questions about this is that last year, I was at a conference last year in London with the Constitution Unit, and somebody raised this question in front of Tony Travers and Ed Cox, and they agreed that term limits should be imposed. With Labour wanting to create more mayors and some of the things that went on in a city down the road down the motorway from where we are now, in terms of governance, I'm just wondering what your perspective is on this issue.
Thank you for your question, Neil.
I'd hate to take a vote of the audience on whether we want term limits. I mean, every politician does have a shelf life, and I think sometimes politicians not knowing when to go I would accept is a problem. I'm coming up 8 years as your Mayor of Greater Manchester, 8 years, which has been an incredible 8 years in many ways in terms of what's happened. I just was talking about some of what happened. But I've loved these last 8 years much more than I ever did the 16 years I spent in Westminster. This week, I, in many ways, achieved one of the big things I wanted to achieve when I came in as Mayor, and that was to give Greater Manchester an integrated public transport system. Where it's one system like London, tap in, tap out. I don't know if people have seen that this week or used it. That is something that, in my view, this city region should always have had. But when the buses were deregulated and everything was fragmented, we've had to work really hard. I won't go into all the details, but getting it back to one system has been a really, really gargantuan task. The point I'm making is, 2 terms, I would have been out by now. We wouldn't have seen that through. And the question is that long enough? Change, sadly, takes a while to bring about. And in my 3rd term now, I kind of feel I'm on top of it. It takes a while to get to know all 10 boroughs, but I actually do know. I feel I know all 10 boroughs now. I kind of know. Mainly the similarities between them, because they are largely similar, but there are just differences of culture and things and identity in our different boroughs. And I just think when you've got that level of understanding, and GMP, we've been through things, I feel I know GMP as an organisation, Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service, Barry's with us this evening, they too we've been through a big journey together. GMFRS is a fantastic organisation today, in my view, the best fire and rescue service in the country. You kind of get to know things top to bottom when you've been around for a while. I'm giving you the self-serving, yes, I should stay in there. But I'm just trying to be honest with you. I know I'm in a much better position today, but I'm not. You don't and you shouldn't stay in these roles forever. And it's right to let somebody else come through. So I just would say, 3 terms, 4, I don't know, but I do understand what you're saying. But Steve Rotherham and I, we left Westminster together, the Mayor of Liverpool, to do this together. I think we both feel that we needed the time to establish devolution in Greater Manchester and in the country, and I think we have done. I think the mayors are a thing now because we've been able to go at it, work together. The voice of the North in the pandemic, we didn't half play that voice of the North back to Westminster. And I think generally, I hope you agree, I don't know whether you do, but I think the voice of the North is stronger now than it's ever been before, and that is established through devolution. They would have loved nothing more down there than Steve and I leaving as MPs to try and establish this, and us to give up after 2 terms, and because they would have wanted to kill this and get rid of it. And again, it is a long answer to a question of whether or not I should have a term limit.
Many people forget about your roles. It's very strategic, isn't it? So you need that time to bed in and also to get things going and get things up and running as well. And I think it's a great answer you gave there as well.
Neil, also inherent in your question, you said, like US presidents. I'm not entirely convinced that Donald Trump thinks he's only going to get 2 terms.
The question is, can he have another one after this one, or do you have to have content? I thought you...
He can't, but he would like to.
Yeah.
Because he says they stole the other one.
I think there's an executive order coming on that particular
Genuinely,
issue.
yeah. Great, right, we've got 10 minutes, but I'm just going to take